All right, back to World War II. Well, actually, World War One first. Like I was saying about the Lithuania, where there were a couple hundred Americans on there, and that was enough to justify us to go to war and have thousands and thousands, maybe millions die. I can't remember the exact number now. I'd have to actually look it up. And also because of the vaccines they were given at the fort in Kansas. Well, that's why we ended up with the Spanish flu because of all the exposure, the exotic chemical warfare tools that were used in the arena of battle. So, do we justify the cost of that war in money as well as human life compared to the 200 who were numb enough to get on that ship, even though it was well publicized on the whole eastern seaboard not to get on it because it was known to be carrying munitions and it was known that it would have to go through the Wolf Pack waters? Now, let's go on to World War II. Why did World War II happen? Well, first, let's say this. You can look it up on the internet. The British Gazette, 1933, front page, Judea declares war on Germany. Well, you're probably wondering about that. Why? Hitler wasn't in place then. He wasn't persecuting or killing any damn buddy. Nah, that ain't why World War II happened. Do you want to know why World War II really happened? Are you ready to hear the damn truth? Because Germany had a gold-backed national bank. And the international bankers couldn't stand that because they couldn't enslave the people that way. That's the truth of why this happened. And the millions of people who've lost their lives because of these dirty, money-hungry these whores. All right. If you're a religious person, who is the only person or persons that Jesus, Esau, got mad at? Peace be upon him. The money lenders at the damn temple, because they were soiling the people as well as the tithe that was to be given unto God, because they did it just for profit. They've held true to their nature to this day. That's why YouTube is getting hit the way it's hit. Now, you know why World War II really happened. It's because they didn't have a central bank. They had a gold-backed national bank. And the money lenders couldn't stand that people would have their independence. And also, Hitler, if you would bother to read Mein Kampf, knew that these clowns are the ones that funded and started the Bolshevik Revolution. And all of Tsar Nicholas' family was executed. And he, too, was our ally. Now, as far as Bismarck in Germany, he was a real strong ally to us. But when he died, we're not going to get into how he died. When he died, his nephew, I think it was, he was all for glitz and glamour. He was flamboyant in his dress. He was all the time designing new uniforms for himself. In other words, he was a bubblehead. And that's how they were manipulated into that war so easily, because they had a fool for a leader. Now, people would like to say, well, World War I, that happened because of the execution that took place by a Serbian against Archduke Ferdinand. Yeah, that's partially the reason, but it's not the whole truth. You know, that's what started in Europe, But that isn't what started it for us, because our founding fathers firmly stated, do not become entangled in foreign affairs. Well, look at where it's gotten us for becoming entangled in other people's affairs. Now, America as it sits, if we could bring everybody back home, there wouldn't be a person that could come at us at all. And if they did, we would go back to mad. Do you know what mad means? If you're young, you might not know. Mutually assured destruction. That's the whole game with nuclear weapons. That if you shoot it at us, we're going to make sure we wipe you off the face of the earth, because we know you're going to be already launched yours to wipe us off the face of the earth. And now we've got these mad hatters all over the world that have access to these heinous weapons. The city's still standing, and then go back in and occupy it. Why? Because it's value. They don't want to destroy the infrastructure, but they don't want no cost. Sometimes having all of this education that I've got, especially now in the times that we live in, is not advantageous, but I'm not going to step back from it. I will not. I have no choice. It's my duty to tell the truth. It's my duty to lay out the facts as they really were and still are. Yes, if we had everybody here and nobody fired a nuke at us, we could survive. We could rebuild as a country. If it's a conventional means of invasion, we could repel that. The Japanese were right when when asked why they didn't invade, and they said, well, because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass. See, they understood the concept of the Second Amendment, whereas most Americans don't. They don't because of fear. If you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. You can see that in nations that have already outlawed them. Crime doesn't stop just because you get rid of weapons. I believe we need a regular, well-regulated militia that trains alongside the National Guard or even active service and get all the training. And if you're worried about their damn firearms, well, no, that wouldn't work. You couldn't lock it up somewhere, like in an armory at, say, a National Guard depot, because it might be too late for the person to go there and back to mount an effective defense. Sometimes it only takes one person to pin down company, division. I know what I'm talking about there. You need to look at the movie We Were Soldiers Then. That's based upon a true account. LZ X-ray. Now, it's a very small contingent of our forces against several battalions of NVA. And they held out for days. And they took their own out with them. So, is the spirit of America dead? Or is the spirit of America alive and well and ready to fight for their right to have their life as they choose to, as long as they do not step outside the acceptable boundaries that all societies place upon itself, known as